I became kind of the open house guy. They started, hey, I got a new listing. You want to do open house? They weren't doing open houses. And so in my first 50 days of having a real estate license, I sold 3 houses. Again, I just think that's the most important thing. But do your homework. You got to do your homework. You can't just be a warm body in the house because you're not going to get anywhere. And that's why realtors a lot of times say, I don't do open houses. They don't work.
It's just as boring for them as it is everybody visiting the home when they hadn't taken any time to prepare.
And if it's not a busy open house, that's a great time to do more research. Like that one I just told you about with Bob. All I needed was that one guy. People, I got one guy. I sold him a $1.5 million place, and I listed his $1.25 million place off of an open house. Live by that.
Good. So I want to pause there, okay? And just for today, we'll take it. We got plenty of good content. I'm sure you can feel what I mean. And so I'm going to have them do a whole open house. I think we can turn even that little conversation into a open house secrets section on the channel. They can leverage some of that. So, but that's kind of what we'll do. When you get me that document you're going to send me, it's going to allow me to craft some questions that are really in your wheelhouse and that lean towards your strengths. And so that's why, whether it's a little or a lot, it helps, because then I can craft questions that you're going to be prepared and they're teed up for you in a sense. So once you get me that, then I'll have some better questions and we'll continue this process of hopping on these content creation calls. We can go ahead and schedule our next one now, if you're okay with that.
It's funny you called it open house secrets. When the market crashed, it went from here to here overnight. And we kind of did some weird stuff. I told my wife, I am not chasing my tail, because I'd already been through that in the 80s in Houston, Texas. I wasn't licensed, but the market crash was there too. And
because of the oil crisis, correct?
Exactly. And so I told my wife, I said, if you could live anywhere, where would you want to live? And she said, I don't know, Nashville, Tennessee. I'm like, where in the world did that come from? But I said, let's move to Nashville, Tennessee. So we went over there. I found a house that was in foreclosure and it was half built. So went over there, finished it, moved everything to Nashville. And I didn't really like Nashville that much, but I learned something while I was there. I went to an office, I got a license, of course, and I went to an office meeting and they were talking about supplementing your income with BPOs. And so after I leaned over to the guy next to me, I'm like, what does BPO stand for? And he goes, I have no idea. And then they explained it more. But so we looked at that and I was like, that's kind of cool. And so my wife and I figured out a way to do BPOs together. And she was doing all the desk work. I was doing all the field work, because it can be dangerous. There weren't a ton of them in Tennessee. And I was talking to one of the asset managers. She's like, you're from Arizona? I was like, yeah. She said, I have so many orders there. It's ridiculous. Oh, my wife, we're moving back to Phoenix. And we did. And we started a business doing BPOs. We're doing like 300 of them a month. Man. And the agents were like, how do you get them? I can't even get the orders. It got me thinking. I'm like, I could do a class on this. So we wrote a little book and I put a class together. I charged $500 per person to go to this 1-day class. And it was called BPO Secrets. So when you said open house secrets, I'm like,
in line with that family, with that brand family. Some markets that could that experience could come back around all over again, depending on what happens.